Welcome. We're back again at Loretta's Cafe in Bristol, PA, at your request. So many people love the content. Again, we have Toby TNT, my oldest son, Louis Busico, the finest attorney in Philadelphia. And today we're going to be talking about the families that have been affected by their son, their father, their grandson, their brother being murdered. And you have a lot of these YouTubers glamorizing that and, you know, getting views on that. We really want to talk about that. So thank you for viewing. Keep subscribing, leave comments, and thank you, Jesus, for giving me this platform. Toby, Lou, let's get started.
It's a very, very emotional topic to speak of, because when a family loses a loved one, whether it's in that life, associated with that life, or tragically a random criminal act on the street, that family is forever changed. That family will never be the same. They'll never be able to wrap their head around the tragedy that was put upon them, that they didn't ask for. And there just isn't enough psychiatry or medicine for those individuals to recover from. And when you see individuals out there going on TV and bragging, if you will, about bringing that kind of pain to others, it has to make you question, why the hell would you ever want to brag about that? How are you in any way, shape, or form promoting yourself as a decent human being when in the same breath you're saying, I basically will destroy this gentleman, this woman, and their entire family and extended family? Why would you brag about that? What's in your head that makes you that warped?
Narcissism, greed. You know,
That's the almighty dollar.
a dollar to get YouTube views, to maybe make some money off of it. You know, you have a lot of these individuals started out in organized crime, and it's the greed to be part of this thing that they were part of. And it's the greed that made them rob, steal, cheat, beat, hurt lots and lots of people. And you know, it's that inner greed now that's feeding some of these individuals to put out YouTube videos talking about their heinous crimes, talking about the murders, and bragging about the murders that a lot of these guys have committed. And if you would have said this to me 20 years ago, that this is what's going on now on YouTube, that you have government informants on YouTube, on the internet, bragging about hurting people, cooperating, it's crazy. It wouldn't even be believable. Nobody would believe this.
What I find offensive is, if you're going to go on TV and talk about being in that life, but that was in your past, and now you're home, and now you're a different person, well then, if you want to talk that talk, walk the walk. Don't brag about what you did. Maybe show a little remorse about what you did.
Agreed.
Maybe show some empathy or sympathy for the people you hurt. And maybe say, I'm looking for forgiveness, not only from God, but from society and the members of those families that I hurt. Tell me that story, and maybe I'll find your credibility a little higher when you say that's not the person you are anymore. But when you say that you're a changed person, yet you're talking about I did this and I did that and I would do it again, that just falls on hollow ground in my mind.
Yeah, I personally think it's disgusting as a mom, you know, of 4 children, of 4 adult children, 3 sons. And I think that I wouldn't be able to get out of bed. You know, like that's something like you have to have compassion. Then to hear people talking about how they actually murdered.
Excuse me, everybody. Don't mean that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Sweet.
Woo, some good cannolis. That's why I love coming here.
And all from New York, all dessert.
Thank you.
I like it, brother.
Beautiful spot. And I can tell you this, over the years I've represented literally thousands of people, some exceedingly tough human beings. And true tough people, they don't brag about what they do.
They don't.
True tough people
They don't.
either shut the hell up about what they've done, or if they've turned their life around, they want you to know that and they want to help other people turn their life around. True tough guys don't go bragging about, I did this and I did that. That's the stuff of the YouTube world and of Hollywood, but not the real world.
The real world, you wouldn't even know how tough they are.
Right.
They don't know how tough they are. Like, you know, my sons, they don't really come on. They don't need to prove what they're going to do or how tough they are or who they can be. That just doesn't work like that. This guy wanted to do that because of the incident of me being attacked. But otherwise, they don't show their face. When you have people, which I've watched, and I don't want to knock anybody, and I don't want to mention names, but going on YouTube and explaining the detail of how he committed the crime and where the brains were. As a mother, I sat back and like, I think Toby said, this is narcissism.
Heinous, disgusting. I mean, somebody said, and I don't want to name a specific individual because there's a lot of guys right now that are doing this. So it's a group of individuals.
Yes.
Okay? And, you know, what they are is they're narcissists, they're psychopaths, they're sociopaths.
100%.
So that's why there's no remorse for them. I mean, you know, some of these people may not have
Well,
remorse.
that's a valid point. Yeah, if you are truly a psycho or sociopath, you don't know right from wrong, and you don't know the truth from a lie, and you know, I guess you find some demented, warped sense of satisfaction about telling these kind of stories, but it certainly doesn't promote you as a decent human
Not
being.
all the money in the world.
You know?
Not all the money in the world.
If you believe in forgiveness, if you believe in redemption, that's not the story you're telling.
Well-
if you're a third-rate bullshit artist, then you're going to talk about that.
Or a psychopath or a sociopath. So yes, a third-rate bullshit artist, which we believe there's lots of them out there.
Yeah.
Lots of high-profile individuals that are straight-up bullshit artists. And then you got the sociopaths and the psychopaths that are legit. I mean, they're legit maniacs out there on YouTube these days.
Well, I think also when you can get on and gloat over that, and then you have the followers or subscribers of other men, because 95% of this genre is men. The
True.
viewers are men.
Right, yeah.
When you have other men subscribing to these channels and idolizing these types of personalities, it's outright crazy to me. They're crazy too, because I feel like this. How do you idolize someone that did this? Is it that because these types of men that idolize them don't have, I don't want to be graphic, but
I think you're referring to a certain part
Yeah,
of the anatomy
a certain
that,
part of
that
the
your son and I
anatomy.
may have.
Yes, and I know.
Yes, yeah.
that to get out in the streets and do that, but that's not a tough guy to me.
No.
A true tough guy is going to fight with his hands. You're going to get in a fight, you fight with your hands. You don't bring in a gun, you don't bring in a bat, you don't bring in a knife. I'll knock you out with my hands. That's how I raised my kids. But on top of that, you know, I think it's right. It baffles me that they go ahead and they love this type of
Well,
personality.
they're living vicariously. Yeah,
True that.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
I mean-
they see a little warped sense of what they wish they were and could never be, and that's why they find that kind of nonsensical talk attractive. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to.
You're with the devil.
Let me ask you this, and Toby, you may know this better than your mom. We all met the guy, we all maybe had a friend or knew somebody who was going to fight the guy, or almost always got in the fight. Or I was going to knock the guy out, but at the end of the day, he did guts.
Yeah.
He did nothing.
Nothing.
And that's the kind of people who idolize
Right.
this nonsense. The guy who's all talk, does nothing, and likes to hear himself talk.
And they like to hear themselves talk. I think that also like I said, the importance that is put on. I'm all new to YouTube. I'm new to this. I can't believe. That's why I keep saying I want to keep my channel positive. I want to keep my channel bringing everything to the forefront of what the facts are.
Well, there's no better story than a story of redemption. And that's,
Exactly.
And that's your story.
Redemption.
I mean, most of the world's religions are based on redemption. So it's a very popular story that people should really listen to, and it should resonate with any decent human being.
You got a lot of these individuals that we're broadly talking about in this particular episode that claim to be redeemed, but I don't believe they are actually redeemed. I believe, you know, to say you changed and then brag about batting somebody's head in, or brag about, like my mother just said, you know, blowing somebody's brains out and describing how the brains are getting blown across the windshield.
How do you think that mother or somebody tunes in?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. There's a lot of victims here.
A lot of victims.
With some of these people, they have a lot of victims. With some of these murderers, some of these organized crime, mafia, or mafia-affiliated individuals, which are associates. There's a long trail of victims. Some of these people have killed a lot of people. Take away the people that they didn't kill, they hurt a lot of people. And now they're telling their stories and bragging about their stories when...
And that's the part, listen, it's all crimes offensive by definition. And acts of violence are offensive, of course. But if that happened in the past, and that's who you were, and you want to explain why you were that person back then, either by your environment, or by your genetics, or by survival of the fittest, okay, I think most people, while they're not going to condone that behavior, may understand it. But when you can't leave it in the past, when you constantly drag it into today and the future, then how the hell with any credibility can you say, but that's not who I am anymore? No, that's who the hell you are today.
That's who you are today, but also I think it's that if you watch some of them, they really love boasting about that. That's the craziness.
Yeah.
They love, do they think that makes them tough? Like a tough guy because I pulled the trigger?
It's like being the best athlete in your 8th grade class and then you didn't make any team in high school.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about you anymore, so you're talking about what you did in 8th grade.
But here's the thing with these so-called tough guys, because these guys are bragging about this stuff. And it's like you said earlier, I always believed that. So when I was younger, not so much now because it's not the right thing to do, but I always believed in a one-on-one fight. I wasn't about having my friends jump in. If there was a dispute that had to be settled, I was one of those guys that went to set up fights where I had to fight somebody in a one-on-one situation. I didn't want people jumping in. My mindset was, if this guy could beat me, let him beat me. And I've done this in literally organized street fights. Because I don't believe in the sucker move of sucker punching, hitting somebody from behind, taking a crew of guys and knocking the shit out of this one guy, baseball batting him. To me, that doesn't take a lot of courage to get a crew of guys, go beat somebody up, abuse them and baseball bat him. That's not, to me, that's not a courageous act. That's a punk.
Yeah.
That's a punk.
It is a punk. That's a punk. That you need to have a bat to go beat somebody up.
They need it. They need the bat. They need the few other guys with them. That's what they need. They're punks.
Because that, if you think about organized crime, all it is an Italian gang. They're a gang.
Well, there's Italians, there's blacks, there's Puerto Ricans.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying,
there's Russian gangs. There's lots of gangs. It's not just Italians.
But we're talking about.
But for some reason, when your name ends in a vowel, you just get a little more
it's always
attention.
Italian. It's always Italian.
You know,
you get more attention.
I
It
think.
seems to sell better.
It does, for sure.
Yeah, I think though that.
I mean, what you have to do is look at the also known as, the AKAs, that the federal government puts on the indictments of Italian guys. I mean, every half-assed nickname in the world. If a guy was called one nickname once in his life when he was 17, somehow that makes it on the indictment because
Exactly.
it has that sound of he's a mob guy. He's also known as, okay?
Yeah.
The guy likes to eat donuts. Oh, he's Ralphie Donuts.
Yeah,
I sold me a donut
yeah.
25 years ago.
Exactly.
I mean, they love that shit.
They love it, and listen, the public loves it.
They do.
The media idolizes
Hollywood
it.
made it. Hollywood made it.
I mean, they
You know, they make
just
the
love
greatest
it.
movie of all time, but no one ever thought about the ripple effects.
I had a friend of mine who was a MAID guy, and he had his dead friends tattooed on his arm. When they were prosecuting him in court, the prosecutor apparently said, this guy tattooed, because they were all dead. They were dead. He tattoos his victims on his arms. So, you know, it was a way of, because the names of the guys on his arms were his friends, apparently they were dead, and he says he tattoos, the prosecutor said he tattoos his victims on his arms.
I always feel like this, though, that change is hard. It's very hard to change. You got to work deep within yourself. You have to acknowledge your wrongdoings. You have to confess your wrongdoings. And that's what's so wonderful about God in a Catholic church because a priest isn't going to judge you. They're never going to judge you. You go in, you confess, you cleanse your soul, and you say, I did this, this, and this. These guys aren't capable of that. They're not capable of that. When you have people that are out there with the bigger platforms sitting there, and you have all these viewers watching you, I did this, and I killed him, and I killed him in the warehouse, and then we chopped him up, and we threw him in the ocean, and then I mean, come on.
They shot him, they battered him, they did this.
Well, there's no remorse, there's no reconciliation. Listen, you ain't going to find that guy in confession on Saturday afternoon.
They're never going to
But
confess.
even if they go to confession, let's say they did go to confession, are they sorry? Are they truly sorry?
You gotta be really truly sorry to be forgiven.
Are they truly trying to change their life? And that's what we want to see. We want to see that for everybody, including these individuals that we're leaving nameless today. We want to see that for everybody. We want to see people change their lives for the better, recognize what they're doing wrong, and be a more positive individual for themselves, for their family, for their neighbors, and for everybody that
And
they're
contrary
around.
to popular belief, you can still make money doing that. You can still make money with a positive message as opposed to a negative message.
There's lots of ways
That's
to
the
make
bottom
money.
line.
It's not that complicated to make money. I mean, anybody can make money. It's not that hard to make money. And you don't have to do things that are going to put you in the gutter to make money.
Yeah, or not have remorse and think that, you know, this is something to continue to, you know, boast about. And I think all of these government informers, they all go on each other's show.
Well, the government informers, they've already been forgiven. Not by a higher power.
By the government?
By the government, that's right. They've been to their confessional, tell me what this guy did, tell me what that guy did, sign here, swear to it under oath, dominus onus, your sins are forgiven. That's the best confession in the world.
And truthfully, Lou, what's really crazy is you have people coming in with these numerous murders.
That's why when any of my clients ask me, Lou, can you mail my discovery to the federal prison here? Can you mail my discovery to the county jail while I'm waiting trial? No, I'm not going to do that. Because the minute you go and eat, the minute you go to the shower, the minute you go work in the laundry or you work in the mess hall, some clown's going to come in your cell, go through your discovery, then make a phone call. He told me this,
Yes.
he told me that,
Yes.
he told me this.
Yes.
And whoever they're talking to is going to say, Jesus Christ, it's got to be right. It's
Yes.
exactly what we wrote up in our reports.
But the government believes them.
Of course they listen. A drowning man grabs the razor blade.
And a lot of times what happens, these cases never get to trial.
No kidding.
Because they're saying, well listen, he's got not one, he's got 2, 3, you know, people that are informing on you. So you really don't really know, and then they have to take the plea.
Right. Yeah. It's look, and I tell people this 1,000 times a year. When you are in a courtroom, you don't make decisions on principle. As distasteful as that statement is, you make decisions on intelligence. Whether you actually did it or not, and people who aren't familiar with the system, I could never admit to something they didn't do. Bullshit. If you know you're facing 20 years, but you got to swallow your pride to be home in 2, you're swallowing your pride to come home to your family.
Exactly.
And that happens every day in this country. It's just the reality of life.
Exactly. Well, thank you. We're going to close out. Thank you again, guys, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Content, you know, really good stories being told here.
Toby, do me a favor. Can you roll your sleeve up for a second?
He doesn't have that.
I want to make sure my name ain't on your one. All right.
Thank you for tuning in once again here at Loretta's Cafe in Bristol, PA. Thank you to all my subscribers. Continue to subscribe, leave comments, let us know what you like. Thank you, Jesus, for putting me on this platform. See you next time.
God bless.
God bless. Thank you.